So good. Now, obviously, I'm not really dressed in the way that most people are dressed when they think of barbecue, right? You can kind of think of, I don't know, shorts, t-shirts, Speedos maybe, I don't know. But definitely not wrapped up with a scarf. But for as long as I can remember, the last, I don't know, 35 years or something, my dad has cooked all the way throughout the year. Christmas dinner on the barbecue, barbecues in the winter, and this is so nostalgic for me to share this with you now. So chicken is one of my favourite things to cook on the barbecue because it's so flippin' easy. This chicken here is a whole chicken. It's a whole free-range organic chicken from my local farm. That's always my go-to. Find the best produce you possibly can. Treat yourself if it's a little bit more expensive. It's always much more worth it. Now, I'm a sucker for herbs. We planted and created this garden kitchen right next to the herb garden and the vegetable garden. So I love rosemary. And I flipping love thyme as well. So I've got some fresh rosemary cuttings here and some fresh thyme cuttings. And I'm going to strip these out. And you're going to grab these herbs, stuff them inside the carcass. Now, you can use lemon if you want. I quite often use half a lemon. However, because of the way that we're going to cook this on the barbecue, it's going to stay super moist anyway, because you're going to keep the lid shut. That heat and the smoke is going to keep revolving round. So instead what I've done is I've chosen lemon thyme, and this is a particular type of thyme. It's got a lovely sort of lemony fragrance, so you'll get that subtle lemon flavour and the thyme flavour from there as well. Then we'll chuck in here some salt as well. Nice. And then finally, obviously super important thing is make sure that afterwards you wash your hands and everything that you've touched as well. These are all at the end now. I put a very small amount of olive oil over the skin, and that will just help keep it nice and crispy. Remember to do both sides as well. And then top tip is actually to roast the chicken the opposite way round. So roast the chicken with the breast facing downwards. And so what that does is it means that all of the lovely juices start to drip down and collect in the chicken breast. Lots of people do it the other way, and so you get lovely, plump, beautiful chicken. So now it's all about how it cooks and for how long on the barbie. I reckon we're almost there. So we're almost ready to get this chicken on here now. One of the extra little touches is to include some smoking chips. So in here I've got chips of whiskey stained wood. These are actually old whiskey barrels that have been chipped up. So I've placed them in some water for about 30 minutes. I always put them in for an hour just to, maximise that a little bit. And so the wood starts to absorb the water. Then, of course, when that goes onto the hot coals, the water makes it smoke, and if you contain everything, you shut everything down, put the lid on. We're also going to put a smoking plate on here as well. That whiskey-infused smoke just keeps billowing and moving around the barbecue and infuses the flavour of the chicken. So once this is lovely and white, hot and red, we're going to pour these coals out. Look at that, that is hot. Wow. So once you've done that, you're going to take this wood, you see it begin to smoke, and we're going to place it all the way around the outside of the coals. Now, I always keep a little bit spare to add on later. Now, with this particular barbecue, we're going to add this. It's like a baffle plate, like a smoking plate. And that has some little holes around the outside. What's going to happen is it's going to force the heat down and push it out like that. You'll start to see it coming out now. And then we're going to place the chicken on there as well. Before we place the chicken on, I'm just going to place this little tin there in the middle to catch some of the drips. It's just a practical thing, makes it a little bit easier to clean afterward. And that's it. You can see the smoke starting already. This lid's going to go on right down. We're going to open the vent a tiny bit. And on this particular barbecue, I've got a temperature gauge right here, which is perfect. We want this to be around about 250, 300 degrees Fahrenheit, so around about 125 degrees, because we're going to cook low and slow. If you want to smoke anything, in order for it to get that lovely smoky flavour, it needs to be cooked on a low heat over a longer time. So I'm going to share with you now something super top secret. I never thought I'd ever get the opportunity to do this, but my dad has given me permission to share with you his secret family recipe, barbecue sauce recipe. It is epic. You're going to love it. It's super simple. You need a bowl to mix it all in. I've got here 2 tablespoons of vegetable oil. I'm going to use this spoon that's already got a bit of ketchup on it to spoon that in there. So 2 tablespoons of veg oil. Got a little bit of brown sugar here as well. Let me just move that out the way. And the brown sugar is, I think, 3 tablespoons of brown sugar. So that's going to go in there as well. Just nice soft brown sugar. There's a whole onion, which has been chopped up really finely. Tend to go for a small onion rather than a big one. This is a little bigger than normally I would like, and you can by all means chop it up a little bit finer than that if you want to. I kind of like the bit of a crunch with it, but I'll come to that in a second. Need some tomato ketchup. I find that getting a tomato ketchup that's a little bit artisan, a little bit left field, a little bit independent makes a big difference here, rather than the the sort of generic stuff you get from a supermarket. That goes in there as well, and you're putting in there 4 tablespoons of tomato ketchup. The cheaper stuff just tends to be very sugary, sort of overly sweet, maybe sometimes a little bit vinegary as well, whereas the sort of more independent stuff is just a bit nicer. Now, a couple of random things. This here is, no, this one's Worcestershire sauce. They look so similar. This one's Worcestershire sauce, and you're going to pour in there 2 tablespoons of Worcestershire sauce. Liam Perrins. And this one here is soy, and again 2 tablespoons of soy in there as well. So that's the mixture. Looks pretty straightforward, pretty simple, and give that a really good mix together. And if you want to, you can pass this through a sieve, squash some of those onion pieces down if you want. I don't mind a chunky barbecue sauce like this, because by the time it's in a burger with the lettuce and the bun and the gherkins and the cheese and it's all melting, it's quite nice to have a little bit of extra crunch. And I quite like a fresh raw onion in my burger as well. If you don't like raw onion, then definitely mush it up a little bit more, maybe even pulp it, but it is quite important for the flavour. So that goes in there. And that combination, you get this incredible deep earthiness, I guess, from the soy and the Worcestershire, a little bit of spice, sweetness. That's so good. Thanks, Dad. Now, you can use it just like that as an accompaniment. Oh, that is so good. As an accompaniment. Or you can glaze the joints with it. And actually, for the last 20 minutes of this chicken, I think we're going to baste the chicken a little bit, the skin, give that a little bit of flavour, because this lovely barbecue-y flavour, the sweetness in here, combined with that nice whiskey, wood smoke flavour that we've got going in there, I think they're going to combine really well. So let's have a little look, see how she's done. Oh, hello. Now, this gorgeous colour is because of the smoke. And any wood that's deeper, like, for example, this gorgeous smoke we've got in here that's whiskey tainted, is going to create a darker colour. So just gently put the probe nice and into the centre. There we go, we're nice and cooked. What we'll do, as this barbecue actually is really cooling down now, it's going to pop a little bit of that lovely homemade barbecue sauce over the top. Give it a little baste. It's a real shame I don't have really any photos, or certainly any video of Dad and I cooking at home, and particularly cooking on the barbecue. But I have so many memories. And it's really nice to be able to put those memories into practice and kind of recreate them for friends and family. And you now as well.